What's going on, guys? Andrew from Last Leaders. We have another killing story in the news. It's a little bit of an old story, but I definitely think that it's significant. Something that mainstream media hasn't really covered. Secondary news has covered it, but not to the extent that it should be covered. Laquan McDonald, 17-year-old boy, was shot 15 or 16 times across the street from Burger King, about like 12 to 15 feet away, by a cop, by one cop, surrounded by another 4 or 5 cops. But there was only one police officer actively doing the shooting. We don't have any surveillance tapes. We don't have any dash cam footage of what actually went on. That's because the police officers deleted it. So there's a little bit more detail in terms of what's actually going on in terms of this story. But I'm just going to keep it light and just give you the highlights of the story. Pretty much everything was settled in court with the city of Chicago for $5 million. They settled everything in court. I believe they were sued for a higher amount, but they settled for that, including the tape not being put out of what actually happened that night. And a lot of people have been saying, and we think that it's for the reason of we don't want like a riot to ensue or anything like that. And to me, to be honest, I wouldn't have settled. I would, my child, I'm single, I don't have a child right now, but I'm not married. But at the same time, if I did have a child, my child is worth a whole lot more than $5 million. My child is priceless to me, and especially to be gunned down for whatever set of reasons that this officer did have. I mean, all the evidence points to him being guilty, and right now his name is being held. Obviously for good reasons, for crowd control and his safety. It's really sad to see that, for all these people that support and rally behind police officers that so blindly, without actually holding them to a certain standard, and anything they do that's wrong, we make excuses for them. I'm saying we because I don't do it, but people here, we do it in the United States. And I think it's really, really sad. Other countries, they hold into a certain regard. Everyone does, and they have proper training, unlike what it seems like our police officers have when they're firing shots because they feel like their life is threatened when it's really not, or they think something's happening, something's about to happen when it's really not. They're just acting out of aggression, and it's a power trip, to be honest. The city of Chicago didn't want a riot to ensue, but I think that there should have been some type of protest, some type of, aggressive protest to get the tape so we can see what actually happened. I think that is more cause for a protest than what actually happened on the tape, because that puts more red on their hands for what actually happened. We let a lot of injustice go by, that doesn't need to, just because it's on like secondary news and not on the mainstream platform. But we need to stop doing it. We need to start thinking for ourselves and going out and seeking this knowledge about what goes on in the world and what's being taken from us, because a lot of things like this are going to keep happening. People's kids are still going to keep dying. It's not going to change until we actually start thinking for ourselves instead of feeding or getting fed hand and foot by these media outlets that really only report business that is profitable for whatever agenda they have. And yes, I'm using the word agenda because they do have an agenda. If you don't really see it, I can't really help you. You have to see it for yourself. And people, it's just sad that people will only really see it once it happens to them, and then the blinds get lifted off their eyes and they see what actually is going on. I just want to leave you guys with that. This is really sad that this story hasn't gotten really much coverage, but I don't know, man. We need to talk more about this, because it's just gonna get worse from here. 2015, I had high hopes for it, but it seemed like it's getting a little bit out of control, and getting a lot more sneaky and more maniacal.